everyone, this is Sights for Eyes, and welcome to Ep.3 of An Introvert Speaks, a show where an introvert speaks about what's on his mind or his favorite things. Today's date of this recording is November 10th, 2020, and my mind just went blank. So before we get into the show, be sure to follow me on my social medias at Sights for Eyes, my Instagram and Twitter at Sights for Eyes. That's SIGHTS, the number 4 EYES. And be sure to follow me subscribe to me on YouTube. Type in Sights for Eyes and you'll see the green background with the 8-bit glasses icon. And be sure to follow me, be sure to follow me on the Introvert Speaks on Facebook. I cannot talk today. As usual, my mind's all over the place, but at least I'm getting my point across. But also check out my podcast. I upload on Apple iTunes, on Podbean, and depending on when you're listening to this recording, I'm on Spotify now. I'm branching out my podcast into like different territories or different sites, different platforms. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And so, without further ado, today's topic is video games. So, guess who's going to get the PS5 when it comes out in November 12th? Yes, this PS5 is dropping on November 12th. I believe that's on a Thursday. And guess who's going to get it? Not me. But yeah, I'm excited about the PlayStation 5, the PS5 dropping in a few days. I'm one of those people who are the late adopters. Like, whenever there's a new console out, I don't rush out to get it. I usually wait like a good year or two to see what kind of games are there for the system to work out its kinks or anything like that. So like, I think I would most likely get a PS5 maybe late next year or 2022. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I'm one of those. Yeah, I'm the late adopter people because there has to be like a good variety of games I want to try out, and right now the PS5 lineup is not looking appealing to me aside from the Spider-Man game and Miles Morales. Yes, that is really the only game that's appealing to me. I mean, like, the backwards compatibility, being able to play PS4 games on PS5, that's cool and all, but at the same time, that's not enough to convince me to like switch over. Now, if the PS5 would say like you can play PS3 games and some PS2 games, and I would be all for it, because as you'll probably hear me say again later this episode, I have a crap ton of PS3 games I need to finish playing, and yeah, I have a crap ton of PS3 games. So PlayStation 5, I'm excited for it, looking to see what people's reactions are, how it handles things. So I'm hyped for a PS5. Xbox Series came out a few days ago or yesterday. I want to say yesterday. Well, around this time of recording, the Xbox Series just came out recently, and I'm neutral about the whole console wars thing. So if you got your Xbox Series, hey, congratulations. I'll be looking around to see like how it turns out, the gameplays and people's reactions and things like that. So yeah, so happy for that, and I hope y'all got some. I hope y'all get some games. I'm just playing, but yeah, not really. I don't know. But anyway, so the today's topic, like I said, video games. So how I got started into video games. I believe I first got started into video games when I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old. My older brother got me into video games. Props for him. And he also has his own YouTube channel. Shout out to him in the description below. So he got me into video games, and You know, when you're if you're like the middle child or like the youngest, or if you have like an older sibling, like at a young age, you kind of just like want to just follow them around and like see what they're up to and just try to do the fun things, like the illusion of like older people doing things are cool. So yeah, I got into that illusion. But anyway, getting off topic. But anyway, but yeah, he got me into video games. My first video game I saw was Super Mario Brothers 3 for the NES, for the Nintendo. Now, it was colorful and I like watching, but I remember this one moment of that sun that moves in the background really scared me when I was little. So from that, like whenever that sun would just be moving around, and you have to just like you have to like defeat it with like a block or something like that. Yeah, the way that sun moved in Super Mario 3, uh, really scared me. So yeah, but the first video game I got my hands on was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis. That was my very first game, and even to this day, it's one of my favorite games of my. I'll say my top 10 or top 20 favorite games I've played. It's there, yeah. Um, yeah, it got me into like my favorite color, my favorite animal, fox, things like that. And yeah, so I say like once I got into Sonic 2, everything else was history. Now, from that point on, like I remember my childhood. Mostly played a lot of Sega games, Sega and Nintendo games. Like that was the basis of like my childhood. So Sega, I remember like a family friend gave me and my brother like a bag of a Sega Genesis game. Like there's Sega Genesis and then like all these different types of games. So like we were never bored. Like we got like Sonic 2, Sonic 1, Streets of Rage, Street Fighter, let's see. Oh, some RPGs like Shining in the Darkness, which is like one of my first time playing an RPG, which was pretty fun. It's a pretty fun game for what it is. Yeah. There's some Madden 92, I think, Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. There was a lot of games in that bag that the family friend gave us, and so like we had like a field day with that. And yeah, there was also the Game Gear, which I played Tales of the Oasis, Legends of the Oasis. Hold on, let me check. What was the name of that game? Let's see. Defenders of the Oasis. Yeah, it's another RPG game, which is quite fun. A little difficult, but it is fun, interesting story. So it pretty much plays off when a game of like, well, the tale of like, there's like different incorporations, like, oh, like a thousand, like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves and pirate adventures and fighting for the kingdom and things like that. I gotta get back to playing that. I played that game like I think in my whole life like about 5 times, and speaking about it now, I want to go back and play it. It's for the 3DS eShop, yeah. So I want to go back and play it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think like the reason I made this podcast episode, like I was not expecting, or I didn't plan to make a podcast episode, but like this lately, I've just been like in a high gaming mood lately, just like, and my mind's going crazy. But anyway, back on topic. Yeah, there was the Game Gear, and I've also played. Well, like, yeah, there was also the SNES, the Super Nintendo. I don't remember too many games from there, but like the ones that stand out is Yoshi Island, Killer Instinct, one of my favorite fighters on that system. Super Mario World. Yeah, I don't remember too much about Nintendo of like which games like I watched my brother play it or my brother I played. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's just like, oh, Mortal Kombat 3. Okay, yes, that too. So like, um Like my brother. Okay, so one thing is like I didn't really have my own gaming console until uh my first year in college, university, which I'll get into that. So for right now, some of the things I talk about like SNES, the Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2. Yeah, those belong to my brothers and a GameCube. And what we would do is just like at first he would like buy the games and I would watch him play and I would sometimes like join in and play with him and I would get I would buy the handheld games that handheld systems like my first handheld system was the Game Boy Color. My first game for that was Pokemon Red. That was like back in like 97, 98 when the Pokemon craze was like it was popping off. It was the Pokemon craze. You had to be there when Pokemon first came out. It was like, ooh. Yeah, so like Game Boy Color, Pokemon Red. That was like my first handheld game. Handheld system and the first game I owned. The Nintendo 64. I enjoyed the Nintendo 64. A lot of good games. Super Mario 64, Race 64, Smash Bros 64, Star Fox 64. Yeah. Man, my mind's drawing a blank on 64, Nintendo 64. Diddy Kong Racing. Yes, Diddy Kong Racing was like a racing game, a spin-off of Donkey Kong Country. So Donkey Kong has like, is that his brother? Well, anyway, he had like this sidekick named Diddy Kong, and Diddy Kong would just follow him around, things like that. Kind of like Tails, to kind of like how Tails like follow Sonic around. That's kind of like how Diddy Kong is, and so he had his own spin-off racing game, which was like it was fun. Like you could fly in carts, um, hovercrafts, planes, and unique characters and things like that. Yeah. So Diddy Kong Racing was like my favorite racing games on the Nintendo 64. Of course, there's Mario Kart 64, but yeah, that was good. And I'm not saying anything bad about that. I also like Mario Kart 64. Game Boy Color. I had a few games for Game Boy Color. Um, the only ones I can think of at the time right now is Pokemon Red, Pokemon Gold, and a Yu-Gi-Oh game. I want to say, yeah. And from that, um, the next is the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast is without a doubt my favorite gaming console. The Sega Dreamcast is one of my favorite gaming console. Like it had a lot of good games like Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, Outrigger, a racing game called Revolt, something called Toy Commander where you're like toys and you're flying around and shooting other toys or something like that. It was quite a bizarre but interesting game. Ready to Rumble. It's like a boxing game. That was like my favorite thing to watch. Kinda didn't like playing it, but I like to sing song of Ready to Rumble and just watching like my brother play. Um, let's see, Power Stone. I've always wanted to play Power Stone, but I never played the full game, which that will most likely change later soon coming up. I have more plans for my gaming channel. Well, for my channel to play obscure games and I'm feeling like kind of like in a retro like mood right now. So let me finish uploading my Undertale episodes and we'll get to that. But anyway, Ready to Rumble, Power Stone, yeah. I don't, yeah. What if you're listening to this and you're born in the '90s? You would know what I'm talking about. So there used to be gaming magazines where you would buy them like at the grocery store, supermarket, or bookstore or something like that, and every now and then, like certain gaming magazines, they would include like a demo disc for certain systems, like a demo disc for the Dreamcast, PlayStation, I think PlayStation 2 demo discs, things like that. And so like what they would do is like these companies would include like a demo of their games, like maybe like 3, 4, 5 games to play, and some trailers also, and a disc. And you can give them out, and it's like look forward to this. So just kind of like what to expect, things like that, and it gets you like hyped up to like to buy the games. So I remember playing like Power Stone demo like with my brother like a lot of times, and just it was fun, like fun action, fun insane action, usually funny things like that. Yeah. So Power Stone, Project Justice, which is like the sequel to Rival Schools. I've never played the first Rival School game, but Project Justice is like my favorite fighting game on the Dreamcast. So you're like from so Project Justice, you play from like these different schools. It's like my school's better than yours and things like that, and there's a story behind it, and kind of complex because I didn't play Rival Schools 1. No, I can understand it, but like I don't really know the events of Rival Schools 1. So yeah, but yeah, um, Project Justice is like one of my favorite fighting games for the Dreamcast. Interesting character rosters, the character designs, good music, things like that. Definitely, I should do like a video play of this soon. Hydro Thunder, watercraft racing game. So like House of the Dead too. Yeah. So anyway, so like the Dreamcast was like my favorite gaming console ever of all time. Still to this day, I like playing Dreamcast games. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Uh, Good games, good times. Unfortunately, the Dreamcast lifespan was cut short because I don't know, something about the Xbox. The Xbox took over or something like that. I'm sure there's like videos out online that explains why the Dreamcast was not successful. But with that aside, I also had the Game Boy Advance. I had quite a bit of games for there. I remember my first game for that was F-Zero. F-Zero, what was the name of that F-Zero game? F-Zero Maximum Velocity. Yeah. F-Zero Maximum Velocity. That was the game I owned. And either I lost it or I traded it in. I don't know. I wish I haven't done that. I need my Game Boy Advance. I want to have it back. That was a good handheld system. Ah, yeah. But I had like Harvest Moon for there, a Yu Yu Hakusho game. I don't think I had that big of a library on the Game Boy Advance, but it was a fun handheld system for what it is. What else about Game Boy Advance? Yeah. Oh, the Sonic Advance series for the Game Boy Advance. I didn't really get a chance to play those series. I remember I played half of Sonic Advance 1, but that's something I have to go back and do. But yeah. Not sure if people who are listening nowadays. So like back then, what Nintendo used to do for their handhelds, they used to have like these add-ons like link cables or e-card readers or things like that, where you would buy like the e-card readers, like this big bulky thing you would attach to the handheld, and you would scan cards and you would play like different mini games or help you out in the main game that you're playing. And yeah, it didn't quite caught on. Like I remember like I wanted it, but at the time it was like too expensive, and I was only like in elementary middle school age. Yeah. So unfortunately I didn't, well, fortunately unfortunately, whatever you want to look at it, I didn't get to it. But yeah, there's the GameCube. I enjoyed the GameCube. Good games. Metroid Prime 2. I don't remember playing Metroid Prime 3. I want to say yes, but at the same time, it's fuzzy. But there's also Smash Brothers Melee, like that game. Capcom versus SNK 2, like that game. Um, Sonic Heroes. Fun fact, yes, Sonic Heroes. That's one of my favorite Sonic games for the GameCube. Yeah. Fun fact. I will never forget this. So the day that Sonic Heroes first came out, I had a coupon. Okay, so interesting story. So Sonic Heroes, the day it came out, I kept like asking my mom, like, please take me to GameStop. This was like back in the middle school. Like I want to say 2003 or something like that. I kept asking my mom, like, Mom, please take me to like GameStop, EB Games, or something like that. I forgot what was there. Anyway, because I have a coupon, so like I rushed over and I showed him like the coupon for Sonic Hero, because it's supposed to be like $10 or $20 off or something like that. Because I'm at the time like the game costed like maybe $40, $50, and which I saved up from doing like chores and like yard work and things like that. So I showed the guy like, hey, I want to buy Sonic Heroes. Here's the coupon. I don't think like he read the coupon all the way or he didn't care. But I got Sonic Hero, like a brand new game, for $10. And like at the time, it's like I was thinking this has to be some kind of mistake. But I didn't say anything, so I pretty much got a new game for $10. But yeah, I enjoy playing Sonic Heroes. Like maybe looking back at it now, maybe like it doesn't hold up. I don't know. I've only played it on the GameCube thing. So yeah. Continuing on Nintendo DS. You know what happened? Okay, never mind. Yeah. So Nintendo DS. So the Nintendo handhelds, like the DS, the 3DS. I have a lot of games to play for that. That yeah. So like I have Super Mario 64 DS, which in my opinion is the definitive version of the game. It's like the definitive version of Nintendo's Super Mario 64. So like Super Mario 64, you just play with Mario, but for the one for the DS, you play with Luigi, Wario, Yoshi, and Mario. And yeah, you can switch between characters, and there's mini games. There's like so much to do in that game. I think I 100% that game, and I had fun doing it. So yeah, I'll say that's a definitive game, and actually that should have been the game that should be on the Super Mario 3D All Stars games, not the one for 64. But I digress. Yeah, so Nintendo DS, I have a lot of games for that, but mostly because there was a period of time when I was in university, and I first began university around that time. Um, yeah, so I used to go to GameStop and just buy like used 3DS used DS games that would have like the original box and things like that. And I was also like on an Atlas company buying spree. So like any game by Atlas I would buy. And so like I racked up like a lot of games for the DS and PSP. And I have a lot of games that like I've played but never gotten to yet. So there's that. I'm still trying to get around to beating those games, but like yeah, so trying to think. There's Pokemon, yeah, Pokemon Black. Yeah, there's like a lot of DS games I have. I have to go through my library to check. But same with the 3DS also. So yeah, so okay, so PlayStation 2. It was mainly my brother's, and so like I remember some games from there, but notably Time Splitters 2. It's like a wacky shooter game, and I like it. You can play as a monkey. I have all these different modes and missions and objectives, time splitters too. Yeah. So PS3 was the first console I've ever owned, like myself. Like I went out and got it, earned money, bought it myself. The first console I ever had. Well, I ever have. Yeah, I still have it, and I think I might go back to revisit. So yeah, so PS3 was like my first gaming console, and I got a few games to get started off of, like Blaze Blue. Blaze Blue Continuum Shift. It's a fighting game, an anime fighter. Dang, I'm trying to remember. I think Marvel versus Capcom 3. I remember that. I think those were like my first few games I got for the system for PS3, but eventually I started getting more and more games, and even yet, also the PS3, I have a lot of games for that I need to beat. So yeah. um, let's see. Also PSP, I got a lot of games for that also. To my listener, you're beginning to see a trend that I would like get a system and just like buy a lot of games for it. Like there's like a lot of games I have for the PS3 I need to beat, like Persona 4 Ultimax, um Blaze Blue. I definitely need to finish that. Under Night Inverse, fighters, RPGs, few Tales games I need to beat. Tales of Xillia too. Yeah. RPGs, Killer 7. Yeah, so I have a lot of games to beat for the PS3. I have a lot of games I need to finish for the PSP, both English and Japanese. Yeah, so the PSP, I enjoyed that system. Yeah. Um, the 3DS, yeah, I also have quite a bit of games I need to finish on there. Uh, yeah, and the PS Vita. The PS Vita was not as bad as people say it was. The only downfall about the PS Vita was that, yeah, they went down on the price to make it be affordable, but it's the price of the memory cards, and I would say it's the price of the memory cards and how niche the gaming library was on the PS Vita. So like the PS Vita usually it kind of seemed to like really focus on like the anime casual gamer crowd, not like the hardcore gamer things. And they have like they marketed heavy on this. I want to say of like cross playing, like whatever game you playing on your PS3, PS4, you can also play on the Vita or something like that. But I didn't really see that being used too much. And so, yeah, honestly, yeah. So people say like there's like no good games for the Vita. There are a few good games for there, but in recent years you can also play it on like the PS4 and PC on Steam. So yeah, uh, RIP Vita. So also the PS4. I don't have too many games like a library of games for it, but I have like a considerable amount. Yeah. And a Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch I got last year around this time, and I have quite a bit of games I'm trying to get to finish playing. But the Switch, I like the Switch. I find myself playing the Switch a lot more than my PS4. The Switch is a for me. It's a good way for me to like release stress. So like, 2019. Not sure about everyone, but 2019 was both a good year for me, but also a mostly bad year for me. So, getting the Switch really helped relieve like my high stress, and to this day, like I'm very appreciative of it. Um, so yeah. And also I play a little bit of PC gaming. Um, Yeah, I play a little bit of PC gaming, not too much, but I'm getting into it slowly. Like the first PC gaming, I was like back when like CD-ROMs were like around. Like I remember like the summer throughout like my middle school, like into middle school and things like that. Like that summer, I remember like I bought like CD-ROM at a store and a CD-ROM game, and it had like Sonic games, Sonic CD, what Sonic? Yeah, Sonic CD, Sonic R, that pack, and there's like a Sega gaming pack where it had like Vector Man, Shining Force, things like that, and yeah, that was like my summer. Um, well, that was my summer of like middle school, and yeah. So anyway, going forward, yeah. Let's see the type of games I play. Um, Nowadays I play a lot of JRPGs, platformers, action games, fighters, beat 'em ups, and interactive visual novels and music games. I like playing music games. Well, when I say music games, the main two music games I play are Pump It Up, which is a Korean game, a Korean dance game, and DDR. So both of them I like. It's a good way like to exercise and get music, and it can be challenging and things like that. So Pump It Up, I've been playing since like fifth grade, fifth or sixth grade, I want to say, and I still enjoy playing it. There should be a new Pump It Up game coming out this year. I want to say later this month or next month or early next year, but I knew one is coming out soon. I know that for sure. Um, yeah, so I like Pump It Up better than DDR because Pump It Up's more challenging. There's five arrows, but yeah, there's five arrows. The difficulties. Pump It Up also is should mention it's a Korean game, Korean music game. So they have K-pop in there, instrumental music, things like that. So I like Pump It Up a lot more than DDR, but DDR is still fun. I recently just got back into DDR like this summer this year actually. I downloaded like a DDR emulator. Um, Step It Up, yeah, I want to say. And yeah, and just going through like old DDR songs and like remember, oh, yeah, I remember this song. I used to play this song and playing like the newer DDR games on that. And I just think like, since when did DDR become much difficult? So, yeah, so I play music games. When I used to live overseas, there was like this arcade, and they have music games to the side also. Like I wish I could remember the names of these, but yeah, it's like you would hit like the button. It's like a circle pad that like you use your hand to play, and it's like on the arcade, not like down low, but like on the screen. And you would press the arrow, the direction of the arrows where it would come on the screen. So yeah, I wish I could remember like the name of that game, but if I remember, if I remember, let me do a check. It's gonna bother me. Let me check. Okay, so after doing some research, the name of the game that I was talking about is called My. It's MAI My. You use your hand to play. Yeah, I used to play that sometimes while I was living overseas, and it was a fun game, interesting game. I also have like K-pop. It's like a mixture of K-pop songs, Chinese songs, Japanese songs, instrumental songs, even pop songs. Definitely like interesting and fun to play, and I would see people play that, and yeah, so I wish I can play it more. Unfortunately, where I live, there are no arcades around. No Dave and Buster's, no round one, yeah, no round one. So yeah, I gotta get out of here. Well, yeah, I need to I need to go to an arcade. I want to go to Atlanta to play arcades, but darn you, pandemic. One of these days soon. Well, anyway, getting back to topic. Yeah, music games. I really enjoy playing music games. JRPGs. I play that a lot. I mentioned earlier that I got into RPGs. There was this game in the I used to play for Sega Genesis called Shining in the Darkness. That was like my first taste of RPG game. And so I would say the Shining series. So for Sega, there was like a small collection of RPGs. The ones I remember the most are Shining Force 2, and Shining in the Darkness. So they are connected, but story they're related to each other, but their story doesn't really. You don't have to play one over the other or something like that. You can just play whatever. But yeah, Shining in the Darkness was like my first into RPG. It was like fun to play, a little scary at times, difficult, definitely, yeah. But I couldn't beat it when I was like a little kid. But I remember like this summer before starting high school, I had finally beaten Shining in the Darkness. It's kind of a long game. I would say about 30 hours of gameplay, but I had finally beaten it, and it was difficult, but I did it. So yeah, from that point on, like I've also played Final Fantasy 4, which is my favorite Final Fantasy. Let's see. There's a Persona series, Shin Megami Tensei series, the Tales of series, which my first Tales game was Tales of Symphonia. Uh, Pokemon. The main Pokemon games are RPGs, and I still play the main Pokemon games. Um, yeah, so don't get me wrong. People say Pokemon's for kids. The gaming Pokemon, like the RPGs, they're still enjoyable. Albeit, I think it's becoming a little easy nowadays. But I still enjoy it for what it is. Yeah, and yeah, Pokemon games. I stopped watching the Pokemon anime. I want to say like after Gold and Silver, I got a lit into like the third generation of Pokemon, but after that, I just kind of stopped watching the anime and just started playing the games. But um, yeah, so like I guess Pokemon like it was like in a dark period or something like that. But like the first two gens were good. Gen 3, I barely remember like Gen 3, Gen 4. I'd say Pokemon started to pick up during the black and white era, and it started going from there. Yeah, so like I remember playing. I played all of the Pokemon games, the mainline ones, but I barely remember anything between like Gold and Silver and Black and White. Yeah, so let's see what else I have on my show notes. Platformers, platformers. I'm more of a Sonic and Mario. Um, yeah. Okay, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So, yeah. So, I'm getting into adventure games more and open world games. So, one game I want to check out is. My mind just went blank. Give me just a second. There's one game that just came in mind that people keep recommending to me. Let's see what it is. Okay, got it. So, an adventure game I want to get into, The Witcher. People have been recommending me that I play The Witcher, and it is definitely a game that's like appealing to me. Like honestly, American like made games like those RPG things or like things like that, or adventure game. Initially, growing up, did not appeal to me at all. But nowadays, with like a more, I would say more open mind in gaming, things like that. I try to give things like a try, like at least a try or glance and things like that. Like I wait on it, I sit on it, like I'll see something that's like interesting, and then like I do research. I'll sit on it for a while, and then I'll go out and give it a try or something like that. So yeah, I'm not really swayed by opinions and reviews too much. That I rather like experience it myself. So like sometimes people will say like this game is awesome, but like it turns out, in my opinion, not to be a good game. So The Witcher 3, I definitely want to get into, and open world games. I would say like my first taste of an actual like of a good open world game is surprisingly not Grand Theft Auto, like those sandbox games. Not Grand Theft Auto. I've never played a Grand Theft Auto game. I know. I need to change that. But the Yakuza 0 was my first, I would, to my memory at least, my first into like sandbox games. There's so much to do in Yakuza 0 that I have not finished this game, and I've gotten it back in 2017. There's just so much to do in that game. Like, there's the main story, but then you have like all these side missions that you don't have to do. You can just beat the main story and come out and do side missions. But I just get so distracted. There's just so much to do in that game, and like Yakuza 0 is like the starting point if you want to get into the Yakuza 0, which is for the PlayStation and Xbox and I think PC. So yeah, so like the whole Yakuza 0, the whole Yakuza series is on the PlayStation, the PS4. So if you want to check that out, um maybe I will do like gameplay footage of Yakuza 0 on my channel, maybe. But just to introduce people to the series. But yeah. Um. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yakuza 0. Yeah, there's just so much to do in that game that's easy to get sidetracked, distracted. Like, you can play games within games. You can dance. You can do karaoke. You can do like and just like the townspeople of that game that has you do like these side quests is so absurdly funny. You just can't get enough of that. So I will get back into Yakuza 0 soon. Okay, genres of game. Unpopular opinion. I don't like shooters too much. Yeah. So, usually when people think of video games, the first thing that comes to mind is usually shooters like Call of Duty, Halo, Fortnite, Overwatch, uh, Players Unknown, things like that. Yeah, I don't really like those games. I don't really like shooters. Like, I will play a shooter, but only with like if it's with friends or like people I know, like kind of like party games, that kind of thing. Like, just like laugh around, joke around, being in the same room, not necessarily, but like things like that. If I'm playing with friends, then I'm more likely to play. But buying Call of Duty, doing like playing online with other people, I won't do that. It's just shooters nowadays just tend to be like the same. I know. Wait, again, unpopular opinion. Don't come at me with don't come at me with pitchforks or anything. But they're just like shooters are just kind of like more or less the same. Like the shooters I grew up with, like Time Splitters, Outrigger, GoldenEye. Those were fun, and I enjoyed playing those. And they were like they were diverse. They kind of do its own thing, and different characters, but now it's just kind of like more of the same. And I'm not writing off shooters completely, but it's just not my cup of tea. Like for me to get into, I would say this: someone has to convince me very hard to play like a specific shooter. Like why? How is it interesting? Things like that, and how is it different from other shooters? You have to make a hard sell for me on shooters. Like most other games, I'll give a try, but you have to sell it to me hard. Okay, and yeah, like another shooter, like the one shooter I really want to play, and I will get into eventually, is Team Fortress 2. I'll say that stands out because of like how zany and unique like the characters and cast is and the gameplay, I guess. It- Team Fortress, something about Team Fortress 2 that is appealing to me. I'm not sure if it's like the funny YouTube videos I saw or things like that, but Team Fortress 2 is for Steam and I want to get into it soon. I'll say sometime next year I'll start playing Team Fortress 2. Um yeah, and now gradually I'm getting into like indie games. At first I was not too keen on indie games. Like I think they came at a point in time, I think I want to say 2014, 2015, where indie games were kind of like video game is art. That they're focused more on the art than the gameplay, and they're trying to make it like so deep and meaningful more than what it is or it isn't. And yeah, that really turned me away from indie games. I got into indie games like I would say Shovel Knight was like the first indie game I actually got into, but I didn't stick around for it too long. And I think there's like there's so many Shovel Knights game that's out. I need to do more research into it, and it's a game I want to get into again. And sorry, I was sneezing earlier. And Valhalla, Valhalla or something, whatever you want to call it, is an indie game that like I enjoy. Um, you're not fighting in this game. You're working as a bartender, and you make drinks for people. But what's interesting is that hearing about people's lives, like they all have a story, and from what I played so far of Valhalla, it seems like their stories are all connected to each other or something like that. If Valhalla takes place like in a cyberpunkish a cyberpunk kind of world, good music, interesting characters, things like that, I definitely recommend it, and is one of my favorite games of this I played this year. Um, and I've recently played Undertale. If you've seen like on my channel, been uploading like Undertale gameplay videos. If you listen to the podcast version, check me out on YouTube at Sights for Eyes. Yeah. So Undertale. At first, I hated Undertale. So these are like my stages of Undertale. First, I hated it just from hearsay, because it's a game where you're not supposed to fight people. You're supposed to win people over with kindness. And at that time, Steven Universe was on TV, like coming out, and another unpopular opinion, I do not like Steven Universe at all. I think it's a poorly written show, but that's for another topic for another day. But anyway, from hearsay, I didn't care for Undertale, but so I decided like one day, like it was on sale on the Nintendo eShop. I got it for the Switch, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, and so I got it for the Switch because it was on sale. And so I was like, okay, I'll play this eventually. And eventually happened like last month, and I played it. And it was at first it was like so difficult, and I didn't know what to do or anything like that. I was like, I hate this game. Why I keep dying? I keep dying. This is like unfair, unbeatable. But then like reading a little bit more into it, I was like, okay, this is interesting, and just playing it more and more, and I was like, wow, this is good, and like fun, interesting twist. It was one of my favorite games of this year. So yeah, Undertale, indie game. Love the music, love the characters, love like the branching storylines depending like on your choices or actions in the game. Yeah, so Undertale I definitely recommend. Yeah, fun indie games. More indie games I gotta check out. Also, if you're listening or watching if you're listening, watching, whatever, um, feel free to recommend me some games, and I'm open to like playing different games and things like that. So like, leave your comments down below in the YouTube versions or the Facebook page or something, and yeah, recommend me. You can feel free to recommend some games for me to play. Again, like I'll get to it despite my huge backlog of games. Yeah, so okay, so favorite games and series. Probably mentioned this earlier, but Sonic the Hedgehog series. That's one of my favorite series of game, like my favorite franchise. Yeah, so yeah, the Sonic series. The Sonic series is not as bad as people make it out to be. Like they said, Sonic's falling off or going downhill. I mean, between 2006 and 2008, yeah, Sonic was not at his best between those years. As far as main console wise, like Sonic, like the handheld Sonic games, definitely like Sonic Rush, Sonic Rush Adventures, the Sonic Advance series. I'm not gonna mention that Sonic RPG, but yeah, Sonic is like not that bad of a series, like as people make it out to be. But like, there's Sonic '06, those Sonic games for the Xbox with the motion controllers and Sonic storybook games. But yeah, I would say like after those, Sonic Unleashed is a good game, but only in the daytime stages. Yeah, when you're playing like as a werewolf, werewolf Sonic, um, it's interesting, but it's just too long. Sonic Colors, Sonic Colors is like one of my favorite games. Sonic games. I'll say like Sonic 2, Sonic Colors, Sonic Heroes, um, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Mania. Yeah, those are my favorite Sonic games. And honorable mention Sonic Generation. Yeah. So yeah. Also Sonic Lost World. I don't like that game. It was boring and out of place for Sonic. Not boring, just out of place. That yeah, it is like so out of place. And Sonic Boom games, yeah, I'm not gonna mention that. And Sonic Forces, Sonic Forces came out 2 years ago, and it's not a bad game, but it's also not a good. It had potential. Sonic Forces is a game that you can beat in 1 hour. It is so short, and it is so short. It's just so short, and the fact that I think they charge it for full price. It's like, what were they thinking? Like, come on, Sega. Like, anyway, there's supposed to be a new Sonic game coming out. They were supposed to announce it this year, but because of the pandemic, they held off on announcing it. So maybe they'll announce it next year. But I'm ready for the next Sonic game. Um, the Danganronpa series is my favorite series. I would say it's between Danganronpa and what I'm about to talk about soon, Persona. Ugh. Danganronpa has to be. Oh my god. I would say Danganronpa is at the top. Like, Danganronpa is number one, number two is Persona series. Because Danganronpa is just like interesting, very larger than life characters. It's like one of those interactive visual novel games, like where it's like parts interacting with characters, parts detective, like looking around crime scenes and things like that, and then there's the courtroom cases, things like that, where you have to. Okay, so to those who are listening for the first time or learning about Danganronpa for the first time, so Danganronpa is like okay, so here's how it goes. There's like 16 students trapped in a high school, and the only way to get out is to kill one of their classmates without looking, well, without being seen. And after the murder takes place, you're supposed to like investigate, find like clues and evidence, and where they're supposed to have like a class trial. And so in the class trial, you're supposed to like debate against your classmates to see who the murderer could be. So if you accuse the right person, that person gets executed or punished based on their special talent. But if you choose the wrong person, then everyone but the culprit gets punished, and the culprit gets to walk away from the high school free. Now, it's not like brutal like murder, things like that. It's more like cartoony. How do I describe Danganronpa? It's more like cartoony. Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously, but at the same time, they put it. There's like scenarios that's like a little bit gruesome, but it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's like a mystery kind of thing, and it's kind of like while you're trying to find out like the murderer, you're trying to find like the mystery behind the school and the mascot and the mastermind, the main antagonist, Monokuma. Definitely a good villain, A tier villain material. But yeah, Danganronpa V3 is my favorite Danganronpa game because of like how it took like everything that's been building up, and it took it like in a different direction, and not to spoil anything, but even to this day, Danganronpa V3 came out like 2 years ago, 2017. It's still, the ending of that game is still something I think about to this day. That's I highly recommend Danganronpa. Now, in the near future, hopefully, I will make a video about like introducing a Danganronpa series, and so like to get into the like this series, because like there's different things. Like there's like the first game, the second game, a spin-off, an anime, 3 animes that's fact, and then there's V3. And so yeah, so Danganronpa V3 is my favorite. The Danganronpa series is one of my favorites. Moving on. I don't think I need to talk too much more about this again, but Pokemon series. I like the mainline games. Black and White 2 is my favorite Pokemon game. Yeah, it's like more mature storylines, new beginnings, kind of like fresh outlook, very good music. So Black and White 2 is my favorite. Yakuza series, still trying to get into that. But again, like from what I played of Yakuza 0 and what I've been seeing online, definitely a fun series. I just have to get back to the main storyline. Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is cool. Final Fantasy 4 is my favorite out of the whole series. I thought I liked 2, until I went back to play it. I don't like two so much. Final Fantasy 5. I need to play more of that because I have it for the Game Boy Advance. Mm, 6 I haven't played but want to play. Um, I think like the old school Final Fantasy I like the 16-bit, like yeah, like the Nintendo era Final Fantasy I like. Um, Final Fantasy 7. I've never played the original on a PlayStation. I have it on my PSP and Vita, but I've never played the original. Like I played like the first few hours, but yeah, I never played it when it first came out. I didn't really have a play. I didn't have a PlayStation when it first came out, so I missed that train. But Final Fantasy 7. I haven't played the remake, but I will play it soon. So I'll give that a try. Final Fantasy 10. It's said that it's supposed to be like the best one, the best Final Fantasy game. It's supposed to be the best Final Fantasy game, like in the whole franchise. But it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, like I would have played it when I was in high school, but I think it's too upbeat, maybe too corny for me right now. But I will give it a try, like eventually, because people say like it's the best one of the whole like series. But I don't know. It's like Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 10. A lot of people say a lot of things about that, like it's good, but I don't know. From the outside looking in, I'm kind of like it's too cheerful, too cheesy. Yes, Final Fantasy X sounds looks too cheesy for me, but I will give it a try soon, most likely next year. And Final Fantasy Type Zero, I have, but I need to get into it again. Mm. Oh yeah, so one thing I should mention is like I should have mentioned like in earlier is like there's this period of time where like I didn't play video games as much. So a lot of game series and things like that I've missed out on because like I was just been like, life. Just too busy with life. Or I was nowhere near video games for like a certain period of time. Like I would say like half of my 20s, almost half of my 20s, I was not around video games as much as I was. Just focusing like on my education and building myself up for like career and things like that. So I wasn't really like around video games too much. Like I would read about it and see the news, but hardly any time to play. I would say honestly, it wasn't until this time last year that like I recently got back like into video games a bit more, and even more so this year. So yeah. So that was like I would say my dark period of gaming. Let's see other games. So like Mario games. Yeah, Mario games are always fun, but again, like my dark period of Mario is like between GameCube or the Wii until now because as much as I like Mario games, I think like the new Super Mario Brothers series became very redundant. That nothing new was changed or added or anything like that. And so I think that's the series that was when they pushed me away from Mario. But now I'm trying to get back into Mario. Yeah. So like I want to give like the Mario Party Switch, Mario Kart for the Switch. I want to give those a try. I will soon. And the Persona Shin Megami Tensei series franchise. Those are my favorite. So how I got into Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. Okay, so like when I was in high school, one of my friends often talk about Persona 3 and Persona 4, and I didn't know too much about it, but it seemed interesting. So, beginning of college, I wanted to finally pick up like Persona, and so I went to I bought the game Devil Survivor, like Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor. Great game, by the way. But at the time, I didn't know the difference between Shin Megami Tensei game and Persona because both had Shin Megami Tensei in their title, except for Persona 5 as was recently. But yeah, and so I showed this to my friend. It's like, is this the game that you're talking about? Like, no, that's Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor, not Persona. But it's still a good game. So Cena has already bought it. I was like, I bought the wrong game, but I'll just play it anyway to see how it is. And Shin Megami Tensei game, that's what got me into like the whole series as a whole. Devil Survivor for the DS, while difficult, interesting story where it's kind of funny to think about it now. Not like ha funny, but okay, like Devil Survivor, you're pretty much like on lockdown. Like you can't get out the city. You're quarantined within the city. But it's not because of like the coronavirus or like pandemic. Well, there is a kind of pandemic, but it's more like demons are attacking the cities, and the military is trying to like handle it off, and you become like what they call a demon tamer, and so you're supposed to control like demons that you encounter, and fight them and take control of them, and try to find out what's going on. Where are these demons coming from? There's Devil Survivor. There's Devil Survivor 1, Devil Survivor 2. I wish there was a 3. But yeah, with those, it's like there's alternating paths. Like there's multiple endings. So like different playthroughs. So like there's like hours and hours of gameplay and different storylines and things like that. So definitely worth to play. If you have a 3DS, I recommend getting it for those. In fact, I kind of want to play it right now. But anyway, yeah, Shin Megami Tensei series. I played a little bit of Raidou, the PS2 ones. I would say my next exposure to the series will be Shin Megami Tensei 4, both the first one and the sequel, Apocalypse. I've never beaten 4, honestly. I don't know why. I guess because yeah, I didn't beat 4 because that was like right when like my gaming, the dark moment of my gaming saga happened, like 2013. Yeah, that's like when I became too busy to like really be gaming a lot. So like I would play like maybe 2 or 3 games a year, like 1 or 2 games per season or something like that, and after that I'm just be too busy because of school, because of classes and education, and like building myself up and things like that, preparing myself. So I was close to beating Shin Megami Tensei 4, I want to say. But yeah, that's when the dark period of my gaming thing began, and just got too busy and never went back to it. Although I have played and almost beaten Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse for the 3DS. It is a fun game, interesting characters and stories and music. Why I haven't beaten it is because the final boss is too cheap. It's like impossible to beat, almost impossible to beat. He has like 3 or 4 forms or something like that, and almost everyone on my team is like level 98, 99, almost max level. But I still can't beat this guy. And I got so frustrated. I just gave up. Soon I will go back to play it. Soon I will go out to play it because it is an interesting game. I I wanna play games like I when I play games I aim to finish it, but I have a problem with finishing games like because I don't want the story to end because it's so interesting and I have a lot of fun. But at the same time, sometimes why I don't finish games is because I get too busy with life. Yeah, I get too busy with life mostly, like to finish games. So I try my best like to finish it all like in one go or as much as possible. Yeah. So the next game that's coming up, Shin Megami Tensei 3 remake or remaster. Remake. I don't know. Remaster. Okay. So that's coming out in America spring next year. And Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming out next year also. So I'm excited about both. Now for the Persona series. I love the Persona series, but it's number two of my favorite series of gaming series. It's a JRPG gaming series, mainly for the PlayStation, but it's you've seen it now. It's decided to branch out to like other system ports. So uh, yeah, so the Persona series, it's my favorite, but they got some flaws to work out. Okay, so Persona 3 Portable was my first taste of the Persona series, like my first game. And so I played it on the PSP. So rather than like being able to move your characters like in the open world, you can move your characters like in dungeons, but um yeah, when going around like the city and stuff like that, it's just more like a point and click, which I didn't mind at the time. And also what I didn't know, um there are no cutscenes in Persona 3 Portable. So if you want the full experience, you have to play it on a PlayStation 2. But on the PlayStation 2 though, you don't get to control your characters in your party and they do some stupid stuff. Like for example, say that you need to be healed. Then yeah, your teammates are AI controlled. So say you need to be healed. Instead of healing you, your AI teammate will most likely help the enemy somehow or do something that's like not worth doing and then you die. Well, in PSP they fixed that problem. Thank goodness. So yeah, Persona 3 PSP, Persona 3 Portable was my first Persona game, and then I played Persona 4, which I like the characters of Persona 4 and the story. You know what? Thinking about it now, is Persona 4 my favorite Persona game? I do not know because like good characters, good story, good music. Huh. I would say that like maybe the only downside of it is that maybe too like popish, but I think that was the intent. I don't know. I'm just mumbling to myself right now. So Persona 4, you can play it now on Steam called Persona 4 Golden, which is like the definitive version of the series of the Persona 4. Yeah, I would say definitely give it a try. It is a good, very good Persona game. Persona 5 is my favorite Persona. Is another one of my favorite Persona games. Um, I love the story, the characters, the setting. It's like Tokyo, yeah, like real life Tokyo, but it's like it's more, yeah, it's based on like the real Tokyo, but like just some of the places are like renamed cleverly. So like yeah, so like there's still Shibuya, um, Akihabara, like different Tokyo locales, but like different certain place names are just renamed. Like Yonginjaya is really Sanjingaya or something like that. But anyway, Persona 5, I really love the soundtrack for Persona 5. Good story, good characters. I would say Persona 5 Royal is a yeah. Go for Persona 5 Royal. Don't play Persona 5. Persona 5 Royal is like more more definitive story. It seems to me at least. Because like if you do the true ending of Persona 5 Royal, the ending is like a perfect send off to Persona 5. Like there shouldn't be a sequel to it. Although technically Persona 5 Scramble is a sequel to Persona 5, but it's a spin-off that's a sequel, which we still haven't gotten in America yet. What's the hold of Atlas? But anyway, so yeah, I'm sorry for like these long pauses. I'm just thinking a lot about this series. So like it's still like I can talk about Persona all day. Like not all day, but I can talk about Persona for a long time. Um there's so much to be said about this series. It's like definitely an enjoyable series. Um yeah, Persona 5 Royal. So there's like a joke within the fandom. Persona began with Persona 3. There's Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5. 1 and 2 doesn't exist. Well, jokingly, yeah, they do exist, but they're it's a product of their time. There's like Persona 1 for the PlayStation, which I don't recommend playing. But there's Persona 1 for the PSP, which is true to the faithful to the original one, but just updated with like music and difficulties and stuff like that. The thing about that though is like with Persona 1 for the PSP, every few steps is a random encounter battle. And I got stuck at this one thing. Yeah. So the gameplay mechanics of Persona 1 and 2 hasn't really aged too well. Like if you went from like Persona 3 to Persona 4, maybe even Persona 5, and you go back to Persona 1 and 2, it does not go out. It does not work out too well. So like I do want to play Persona 1 and Persona 2, but they really need to like redo like the combat mechanics. Fix the combat mechanics and then I'll be able to enjoy like the first two of the series. But as of right now, I can't get into like Persona 1 or 2. The battle mechanics is just too complicated. And the fusion thing is just yeah, they definitely made it more clear and more fun in Persona 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we're running out the end of this podcast. So games I'm currently playing, video games I'm currently playing. I'm forever playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. Like I play almost every day. Granted, not as long as I used to play, but now like I believe my Switch saying like I've played over 300 hours of Animal Crossing. So kudos to me. um, I'm recently getting back into Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Um, it's this time of year. I don't know. It's just like I'm in a Tales of mood and Sonic mood lately. So I've been playing Tales of Vesperia. It's an RPG and yeah, it's a JRPG and I wanted to play it when it first came out, but it first came out for the Xbox 360, which I didn't have and didn't want to own. So I was like, I will never get to play it. But like, I think last year or 2 years ago, they came out with Tales of Vesperia for the Switch and other platforms. So I'm getting into it now. Interesting story. I'm enjoying it. Um, I need to finish the first DLC of Pokemon Sword, which I didn't like the first DLC when it first came out because of how easy it is. But now I'm just playing it for what it is, and if you play for what it is, and it's fun. The new DLC came out, I think of Crown of Tundra or something like that, where there's like more legendary Pokemon, things like that, and like different forms, and I want to play that. I just need to get around to getting to playing it. Um. Oh yeah, I got Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Um. It's fun from what I played so far, and I definitely need to get back into it. Like hundreds of hours of gameplay and fun. I need to get back into it. Like I got to, I really got to. And that game's like again like I've been playing my Switch a lot lately. Like for most of this year, I've been playing my Switch. Um, games I need to finish before the end of the year is a Valhalla, Phoenix Wright trilogy, and Romancing Saga 2. Romancing Saga is more like it's like Final Fantasy, like Nintendo Super Nintendo Final Fantasy. But the thing is, once you die in the game, you don't come back to life. So like if one of your team member dies, then they don't come back. Like once they're dead, they're dead. And so you have to like plan out your strategies carefully. There's different routes you can take. And yeah, so it's a fun game. It's kind of like choose your own adventure kind of game. So it's a fun game. I definitely need to be yeah, from when I was last playing, I was having fun, and it told me like the game told me I need to go to this location, but my stupid self was like, nah, I'm gonna go over here. And so I'm in this area with like these high level ants just kicking my butt, and I don't have too many healing items or things like that. And so I'm kind of screwed. It looks like I'm gonna die. But yeah, I definitely gotta get back to playing that and beat it. There's also Romancing Saga 3, which looks interesting, but I gotta finish 2 before I go to 3. And of course, there's your typical like PS4 games, PS3 games, Yakuza 0, Final Fantasy Type 0, Near Automata. What's the Ghost of Tsushima. I want to play. I hope to play it soon. Honestly, don't see myself playing it this year, but definitely gotta play it soon. And Cyberpunk 2077, if it ever comes out, definitely want to give that a try. So yeah, so gaming. So today's episode is video game center. So yeah, so as you may notice, I do upload games on my channel. Let's plays on my channel. Trying to hurry up with uploading my Undertale gameplay because there's like so many other games I want to replay and upload. But yeah, so I'll say I will finish up doing Undertale hopefully by the end of this week, if not next week. So then I'll upload more gameplay, so like more gameplay videos besides Undertale coming soon. So that's it for this podcast. If you like it, rate it 5 stars. Leave a comment or whatever. Yeah, leave a comment. Rate it 5 stars. And be sure to just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Again, you can follow me on my social media at Sights for Eyes. That's SIGHTS, the number 4, EYES. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is for where my photography photos are, and Twitter, I barely use Twitter, but I do post on there. Just just random stuff like anime, photos, jokes, things like that. But I'm barely on Twitter. Well, anyway, and you can follow me on Facebook at An Introvert Speaks. And be sure to listen to my podcast or check out my podcast at iTunes, Podbean, and maybe as of this video, Spotify. Okay, so that concludes this episode 3 of An Introvert Speaks. Be sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to this video on YouTube, and be sure to share it around. Until then, catch you next time. Stay healthy, stay positive, and good vibes all around. Peace.